Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming. Now this is just a quick video to highlight a few of the big changes noted in the Balance Manifesto. Now it is very big and contains lots of stuff, a lot of which was already confirmed by GGG in a reveal stream. So I just wanted to concentrate on 5 specific points, starting with the Ascendancy changes. So there's 2 changes for Ascendancies that seem to be hit pretty hard, and they're Elementalist and Raider. Now it's a little short-sighted in my opinion, as these Ascendancies were pretty bad a few leagues ago. They then got reworked to get people playing them again, and now that they are playing them again, they've nerfed them both pretty heavily, and in my opinion probably over the top. So we start with Raider. That previously they had a node that you'd normally take first, which was called Rapid Assault, which gave you onslaught all the time and 50% increased effect of onslaught. Now it says they're just removing onslaught outright from that. Whether it gets replaced with anything is yet to be seen, but if they leave it as just 50% increased onslaught effect, that's really bad. So we need to wait to the patch notes to see whether there's something that replaces that. Another big hit for Raider is Avatar of the Vow used to give you elemental ailment immunity. That's now been changed to give you 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments, which means you're going to need to pick the remaining 50% up either from the tree or from gear. And then the other change to Raider is the small passives that link up the phasing nodes no longer offer movement speed and instead offer increased elemental damage. Now, as I've already said, I think they've gone slightly overboard with this, but let's wait until patch notes to see. Next up is Elementalist. And really it's the golem nodes that have been gutted pretty hard, which again was kind of expected, but again they might have gone a bit over the top. So again, the ailment immunity for Elementalist is actually totally gone. So in some cases they've reduced it to 50%. For Elementalist, they've just totally removed the ailment immunity from the golem nodes. They've also changed the way the effect nodes work. So previously you would get increased effect of buffs per golem that you had out, and you would also get increased damage per golem that you had out. These nodes have basically all been merged into one and are now just a flat 100% increased golem effect. So you no longer get really any benefits to stacking more and more golems, and you just get a flat 100% golem effect. Now Elementalist still has some strong nodes, but all the golem nodes now I really don't think it's worth taking an Ascendancy to spec into some golem nodes to basically get, you pick a stone golem, have some increased health regen, you might take a flame golem and get some increased damage, but they're not worth taking notable points for. Now there have been a few changes to other Ascendancies, but they've not really been clear about what they are. But they have said in regard to ailment immunity, this is no longer going to be offered as a flat 100% across any Ascendancy at all. So it's been totally removed from Inquisitor, and they have said that it's been lowered or changed on Pathfinder and Hierophant, but have not confirmed what those changes are yet. So just before we move on to the next point, there are some positive points around ailments because they've now put indicators in the game for enemies and players to show how big an effect of an ailment you've put on an enemy or got on yourself. So you can see how big a shock or a chill is that you put on an enemy, which I think is a really good addition. So we'll move on next to movement skills, and these again have been hit across the board, with Smoke Mine receiving the worst treatment. The speed boost has been reduced down to only 1%, and cooldown has gone from 2.5 seconds to a whopping 5 seconds. So it looks like this skill is dead as a movement skill to use to speed around the campaign, and is really only going to be used as an actual dodge ability. And Flame Dash and Dash have also seen their cooldowns increased. Along with this, Second Wind has been reworked, so it now has a downside. So before you would get an additional charge to your skill, and you'd also get reduced cooldowns. What they've done now is they've kept the additional charge, but now they've changed it to be an increased cooldown time. So not only will this affect movement speed, but if you're someone who links them to war cries, again, this is now going to increase your cooldown time rather than reduce your cooldown time. Now these are a pretty annoying nerfs, but I think they will slow down our leveling a bit, but I think once we get used to them, it should be okay. Third one we're going to come on to, which took me by surprise, and I think they've gone way overboard, is the Asean crafts in Betrayal. So these were really popular, the rank 4 ones, all throughout the league, and even towards the end of it, they were selling for multiple exalts. The way it would work is you would get a weapon that was really, really good but had an empty slot, you would go to Asean and she would put a Valve modifier on it for you. You would then have a choice of modifiers that you could put on that weapon. If you didn't like it, you could then remove it because it counted as a crafted mod. Now they've taken really two different angles at hitting this one at the same time. So now it no longer counts as a crafted mod. So if you do get an unveil that you don't like, you're stuck with it and you have to annul or find another way to remove that craft. They're also making it so that when Asean puts a modifier on your weapon, she removes a random one first. So it's going to be very difficult to craft using Asean to finish an item because she is going to remove a random modifier before adding another one on. Again, we need to have a look at patch notes to see exactly how far this has gone, but it looks like you're going to have to get pretty creative with getting Asean crafts to work. I'm sure people much more intelligent than me can figure it out, but at the moment it looks pretty dead to me. So next thing we're going to move on to is the Archmage Nerf, which was expected and it has been hit really hard. So at the top end, it's gone from 108% of mana cost to 60% of mana cost for the increased damage. I do still think though this gem will be powerful because all gems have been nerfed in terms of damage and supports, and there's no way they could have left Archmage untouched. So again, we're going to have to wait till the patch notes, but I think this is still going to be really strong. Yes, it's been nerfed, but I still think this is going to be a really strong support. And then the last one I'm just going to highlight from this video is some nerfs to Arcane Surge and Fortify. Again, Fortify was expected. Arcane Surge I wasn't expecting, but here we are. So if we look at Arcane Surge first, it no longer grants cast speed, which is a bit of a bummer. That was actually a really big benefit to it. And probably just as importantly, it doesn't provide you a flat percentage of mana regen anymore. It gives you increased mana regeneration. Now, obviously, this might be beneficial depending if you've got quite a lot of it. But essentially, it used to give you a flat percentage of whatever your mana was. So if you were an Archmage build and you had 10k mana and it gave you 1% back, that's actually quite a lot of mana to get back, because then your mana regen percentage gets added onto that. So this looks like, in combination with Archmage, it's going to affect those builds quite a lot. They're still going to be viable, and I think they're still going to be really strong, but they do look like they've taken a bit of a hit. And then the last thing to come to, which was again expected, is a nerf to Fortify. Now, they've not been very clear about exactly how either the gem or Fortify itself has been nerfed. But what they've said is people were able to get to higher damage threshold reduced by adding on different effects and stuff to Fortify. So what they've said is they want the less damage taken to only go up to 40%, and that's with investment in all the other nodes. So this is actually going to be a big nerf for players, and certainly hardcore players that stack Fortify and Fortify effect. So there are 5 things I've pulled out. I didn't really want to spend hours going through the whole manifesto because people are more than capable of reading it themselves. I just wanted to pull out the 5 things that I think make a big difference. We'll wait until patch notes, and then I'll bring another video out to go over sort of the major changes. I'll then go back to the 2 builds that I'm looking to spec out for League Start, and we'll start putting some Path of Buildings together and hopefully get those up and running ready for League Start. That's all for this video, and as usual, if you found this helpful or interesting, please consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, take care and see you in the next video.